Thank you so much for singing. Aloha. And welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu on this beautiful, rainy last Sunday of the year. Surely winter has arrived in our beloved chain of islands. Here at the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, we strive together to build the beloved community and to boldly grow compassion, justice, and joy. It is so good to be with each and every one of you right here in the building, as well as those of you on Zoom and those watching on YouTube later on. I extend a special greeting to everyone here, especially those online. For those right here in the sanctuary, please stay right after the service for some light refreshment, and so we can talk story and get to know you better. There's still Christmas cookies. My name is Reverend Dr. Greg, and I am the regular preacher here, and I'm really looking forward to spending the next hour or so with you. Thank you. Thank you for choosing our congregation to worship in this Sunday. Please join me in offering recognition for the chain of islands that we call home and her people. On behalf of the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, we acknowledge that we gather on the Aina, which is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Hawaiian people. Don't be quiet. Come on in. Come on in. We have some guests joining us for those of you online. It's all right. We are noisy when we are ohana. So let's try that one more time. On behalf of the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu, we acknowledge that we gather on Aina, which is the traditional and ancestral homeland of the Hawaiian people. We recognize that Her Majesty, Queen Liliuokalani, yielded the Hawaiian kingdom and these territories temporarily under duress and protest to the United States to avoid the bloodshed of her people. We realize that this building once belonged to the Cook family, who were leaders in the overthrow and imprisonment of the Queen. We admit that this violence allowed the family to build on this land. We honor our shared responsibility to this land and these waters. We commit to learning from Hawaiian wisdom, and we strive to repair and deepen our relationships as neighbors and friends. We're going to light our chalice now, which is the symbol of our free faith, with the words of the Reverend Eric A. Heller Wagner. He writes, "Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life." Please remain seated as we seal our prayer with a centering sound, followed by our mission song.
We boldly grow from fertile ground,
I see so many faces that I've met for only the first time or maybe a handful of times, and I want to remind you that whoever you are, wherever you come from, because of the way you love, because you are here in this building, you are welcome here. We are glad you're here. Come, let us worship together. Well, we have a number of lights to light today because it is that time of the year. I have to bring my notes with me because there is lots of information about each of the things that we are about to light, and I do not memorize all of those things.
It's all right.
Thank you so much, Bonita. I really do appreciate that. Sometimes I need the reminder. This is our Yule wreath as my match goes out. That happens sometimes. And this is to remind us that the solstice is still here. The solstice arrived on December 20th at 11:21 p.m. Hawaii time. We light these candles to remind us of all of the ways that we honored this time together. Our center candle represents the coming of the solstice itself. I can already see I'm going to need more matches. This is going to be fun. Next, we'll have our menorah. It is the daytime, and Hanukkah is actually an evening celebration. So while we will sing a demonstrating prayer, which is not exactly the prayer that we would sing if it were nighttime, we'll also add our candles to the menorah, but we will not light them. We only light them at night, because that is how we are observing it. Our large candle here that's the highest is our shamash, or our helper candle. It is not actually one of the candles of the 8 nights of Hanukkah. It's to help us light the candles. It is the 5th night of Hanukkah at sundown. One of the interesting things about the menorah is we always add the candles right to left, but we light the newest candle first. So if we were lighting this because it is evening, you would light this red candle first and then move back. All right, we're going to sing now. If you know the candle blessing, I will sing it in Hebrew, and then I will give you the words in an English translation. There are many different ways to translate it. I've translated it in a way that works best for us here on island. If you know the song, if you know the lighting blessing, you can join along with me. But remember, I've replaced some words so it's a demonstrating prayer as opposed to the one that would actually kindle the flames. So instead of Eloheinu, we'll use Elokeinu, another name of the divine. And instead of Adonai, we'll use Adoshem, again, a different name of the divine. There are many different names of the divine in Hebrew and in Arabic, and so we're using the ones that make this all right. All right, let's try it. Not this one, it's a different one. We're not to that hymn. Thank you so much, Noe. I appreciate it. I like this little intro though, so you can do that intro for when we do the second blessing, all right? Thanks so much. All right. Baruch atah Adoshem, Elokeinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. And in English translation, blessed are you, Keakua, who brings moments of holiness to our lives through the ritual of lighting the Hanukkah lights. And then the second prayer. Baruch atah Adoshem, Elokeinu melech haolam, she'asa nisim la'avoteinu bayamim ha'hem b'zman hazeh. Blessed are you, Keakua, who brings our attention to the miracles from ages past to this very moment. Again, the lighting of the Hanukkah menorah reminds us that when we work together, we always have enough resources. And now to light our kinara, which I'll do after a little explanation. The celebration of Kwanzaa honors the West African harvest festivals and has been celebrated by communities of Black and African Americans since its creation in 1966. Kwanzaa began on December 26th, as it does every year, and runs through January 1st of the next year. Each day we ask a question, which we'll try in just a moment, but habari gani, or what's happening, what's the word, so that we can learn more about the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. If 7 principles sounds familiar, that's because the Unitarian Universalist Association funded the creation of Kwanzaa, in part, not exclusively. So the Nguzo Saba, or 7 principles of Kwanzaa, include umoja, unity; kujishakalia, self-determination; ujima, collective work and responsibility; ujama, cooperative economics; nia, purpose; kuumba, creativity; and imani, faith. The colors of the candles in the kinara are green for the earth, red for the bloodshed of Black peoples past and present, and black for the people. You light the candles beginning with the green, and then you alternate back and forth each of the 7 nights until you light the last one, the black candle for the people, on January 1st. All right, so let's try that. I'm going to ask you habari gani, and then you're going to repeat it back to me. Habari gani. Ujama. From blackdoctor.org, the 4th day of Kwanzaa is dedicated to celebrating the 4th principle, ujama, which means cooperative economics. The principle of ujama focuses on the benefits of cooperative economics and calls upon the collective spirit of togetherness to build and maintain our own stores, this is speaking for Black people, shops, and businesses, with the goal of profiting from these endeavors as community. The day is a commitment to the practice of shared social wealth and the work needed to achieve it. So how do we practically celebrate Ujama? It means buy from Black businesses. Very simply, we need to buy from Black businesses. That is the best way to observe the 4th principle of Kwanzaa. So if you're wondering if other people besides Black Americans can celebrate Kwanzaa, absolutely. These are principles that are helpful for all peoples, but they're ones that allow Black peoples to not focus so much on the materialism that sometimes comes with the holiday season, and to do things that benefit us and our communities. And now it's time to sing. So seated or standing, please lift your voices in song for our next hymn, Kindle Candles One by One. The Book of Life is a deep and ancient tradition. Throughout human history, communities of faith and understanding have witnessed together the ways that their lives are shared, marked, remembered, and experienced. This community's Book of Life is open to all who enter its place. In it, we invite you to share something that is on your heart, that can be held by this community. Strength upon strength, sadness upon sadness. We are better and more prayerful together. If writing is not something that you are comfortable with, you can always tell the day's worship associate or the worship leader, and we'll write it down for you. At any point during the service, you can also go to our Book of Life altar, which is next to the doors that lead to the gallery, and light a candle about whatever is on your heart. Now, if you need a compassionate person to listen to what is troubling your heart, please go to the church website to contact the care team. The care team includes Martina Queeth, Carla Allison, Nancy Schilt, and Lorraine Fay. And if the listening that you need involves grief, please talk to me, Reverend Dr. Greg, or to Catherine Graham. Alrighty, well, it looks like we have no sorrows listed in our Book of Life this morning. But surely there are some sorrows on our own private hearts. So as my hand passes over the congregation, I invite you to share a name, a word, a phrase, or a thought about the sorrow that you feel, so that it can be held by all of us here now. You can also keep it close to your heart in silence. Ramota adds, "No more war." My pleasure. Some of the joys being shared with us today are that Nancy's daughter Amelia and her kids are back. They hope to stay a long time this time. That means 2 more kids in our elementary religious education program. We are so grateful to welcome your family back, Nancy. The Edelheit Ohana also have their daughter Caroline with them today. She is home after finishing an engineering degree and is a newly minted biomedical engineer with a specialty in materials. Caroline, we're so glad to have you join us this morning. Alongside these joys, there are surely others enlivening our own hearts. So once again, as my hand passes over the congregation, you're invited to share a word, a name, a thought, or a phrase about the joy so that it can be shared with all of us here now. You can also keep that joy close to your own heart and feel the excitement of having the joy to share. The bitterness and the sweetness, the concerns and joys of life are a reminder of the living of our days together, the brave adventure and the holy understanding, the quest to build a beloved community full of justice, compassion, and joy are part of the work we do here at the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu. May we always be reminded of these things. May we always blend sorrow with joy to make them more manageable. And may it always be so. Well, it's our custom here at the First Unitarian Church of Honolulu to share our monthly offerings with a group whose mission is in concert with our own. Since November, we have been giving for a very good need, for our own church emergency fund. The Church Emergency Fund is a confidential and direct giving account to assist those facing urgent financial need in our church and in the wider community. And I have a special appeal for you here on this final Sunday of the year. Something that is true of our community is we give less when we're giving to ourselves. Our monthly giving is usually down by up to $500 relative to when we give to another organization. The people in this community are just as worthy of your grace and your care as other people are in the wider community. Whatever you are about to give today, I encourage you to increase it, maybe double it, maybe add a 0 to it. I don't care if the 0 comes before or after the decimal, add a 0 to it. But we do have deep need. This community benefits so greatly when you give what you can. What is wonderful about this community is that because all of our budget is funded by pledge income and rentals, we're able to give whatever is shared this morning to the church emergency fund. And there are a whole bunch of ways you can do that. There's a calabash that's about to come around that you can put cash in. You can also scan that QR code or use the text number right there. It allows you to give money to the Share the Plate, which is our church emergency fund, directly to the church emergency fund, or to complete payment toward your pledge. The offering will now be freely given and gratefully received. You were quite generous this morning. Your gifts help build the beloved community right here on this island and all around the world. Thank you for your generosity. For those of you visiting us for the first time or maybe the first time in a while, we are blessed at this congregation to be working through some conflicts that we started to address back in November. We now have an update on that process with a coach that we hadn't met just yet. I'll let her introduce herself.
I'm going to be joining the team, accompanying your congregation as you navigate some of your challenges and conflicts in the past, and then as you move into new ways of being together in the weeks and months and years to come. You might have already heard my name because I have been supporting you sort of from behind the scenes. I've been getting to know your board and hearing some of your stories, and also supporting a bit of the design of the intensive that Sarah and Sam engaged with you in a few weeks ago. And now, as you move into a new phase of the work together, I'm going to be engaging with you all a little bit more directly as we design some of those action plans that you came up with, and looking at just some of the ideas that came up and emerged from your time together in that intensive. So you'll see a little bit more of me. So I wanted to formally, officially introduce myself to all of you, since you'll be seeing more of me. I come to the team at Hope for Us through a lifetime of integrating peace building and ministry and education, all through a lens of Unitarian Universalism. I was raised as a UU. I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I attended the smaller church Hope in Tulsa. And I've been a part of many Unitarian Universalist communities since then. And I am serving as the minister at our congregation in Ogden, Utah. This is one of those unique ministries that's popping up all over the place, where I live in Truckee, California, just north of Lake Tahoe in the mountains. And I serve the congregation in Ogden mostly remotely, flying out there a couple times over the year to be with them in person. And it is currently cold in Truckee. It's snowing as I record this video for you, very festive for the holidays. I have been intrigued by the nature of human conflict since I was really young. I have very vivid memories of being a kid in elementary school, middle school, and being out on the playground and watching children fighting, either physically or yelling at each other. And I remember, just, it's seared in my memory, this story of confusion and sadness that I felt while I'd be watching those kids fight on the playground. And I remember not being so bothered necessarily by the kids who were fighting, but by the crowd of people who would gather around to watch them and sometimes cheer them on or jeer or whatever it was that happens with humans watching people fight. And it was really this early confusion and sadness that eventually transformed into a call to peace building. I call it my first call. I really wanted to be able to support people in finding creative and compassionate ways through conflict. And as a longtime Unitarian Universalist, I got involved first at an early age with religious education programming. And I was serving in a lot of congregations doing religious education work. And eventually my love for education and my love for peace building became an organization that I helped to found called the National Peace Academy. And we would offer programs. I would support designing programs that would bring together people from all different kinds of work and fields of study, and just all kinds of different people who were all yearning for a way to figure out how to be together in right relationship with people and learn how to have the skills and capacities for transforming conflict in all those varieties of human life and work. And so we'd bring people together and they would practice peace building together. They would practice engaging conflict, or working on who they were as people that either contributed to conflict or helped contribute to being in right relationship. And so I join you as a Hope for Us coach with all of that in my background, coming to you with a belief that transformation is possible, that being together in life-giving ways is possible, and that there are always endless possibilities for creativity in our engagement with one another. So I'll be joining Reverend Sam and Reverend Sarah in listening to you all, accompanying you all in the work that you're doing. So at this point, you've probably seen that the next phase of our work that we're doing together is asking you for nominations for a small project task force that we're putting together. And the work of this task force will be to work with us, with the Hope for Us team, over the next 2 to 3 months. So it's a short-term thing. And the idea is that together we'll be looking at the action areas that you identified during the intensive you did with Reverend Sam and Reverend Sarah. And we'll be clarifying what we have the capacity for, the energy for, the willingness to do next. So this task force that we're coming up with isn't the group that's going to be doing all of the work in the months and years ahead, but it's the group that's going to help us look at all those areas that we've identified and think together about the activities and strategies that we might prioritize. So we're asking for your nominations. And when you're thinking about people to nominate, we're looking for people who are excited about doing this work, who are excited about the things that you all did during the intensive, and who find the action areas inspiring and worth working toward. And we want folks who, I mean, this feels obvious, but we want folks who really care about this congregation and really want to support building trust and enjoy engaging with all of this creativity and all the various possibilities. During the intensive, you probably heard Sam and Sarah say a bajillion times the idea that the people are not the problem. And so this is going to be kind of the motto that this group has in the work going forward. The people are not the problem is the problem. So if this feels like folks that you know of in the congregation that you really want to be part of this task force, if you haven't already sent in those suggestions, we invite you to email us. You can either email me, Kristen, at kfanula@uua.org, and you'll find that email address in the newsletter also. Or you can email Sam. You probably already have her email address. That's swilson@uua.org. And we're asking you to get those names to us by January 1st so that we can get started right at the beginning of the year. So that's it. I'm so excited to work with you all. I'm looking forward to getting to know you then in January.
It'll be a good time as the work continues on Hope for Us, bringing hope to this community and hope to the surrounding area by the work we do with and for one another. Well, I don't know about you, but it has been a busy holiday season for me. We're still right in the middle of it. We've got 2 more noted holidays just coming down the pike. That New Year's Eve and New Year's Day are actually separate and distinct holidays is sometimes mind-boggling to me, but I love it. I'm going to invite us to rest. If you haven't had a chance to rest this week, or maybe even just today, it's time to rest. This practice is brought to us by the NAP Ministry, a theological collective led by Trissa Hersey, who reminds us that rest is a resistance to disaster capitalism. It's a resistance to white supremacy and taking down our communities for what they can produce instead of how we can connect. And this morning, we're going to rest for a while. We've been working up to this for a few weeks now. We began with about 5 minutes 2 weeks ago. We had 7 minutes last Sunday. This morning, we are going to rest for 10 minutes. Yes. I will guide you through it, and I will watch over you as we're in this rest. As always, if you brought a stuffy or a blanket, feel free to get cozy with that. If not, I'll help you get cozy in your seats. So let's kind of wiggle and get deeper into our seats. Find a position that you can hold for a while. Try to bring stillness to your body and to your mind, and just breathe. You may want to slowly close your eyelids downward or perhaps soften your gaze. Bring stillness, comfort, and ease to your body. If you have any tension in your lower back or other joints, try to find a way to breathe that brings ease to that area. We want to bring gentleness and stillness to our bodies and to our minds. See if you can blank your thoughts or allow your thoughts to gently come and then pass along. If you cannot, that's all right. It's a reminder that you are still alive. And all that you do, focus on your breath as we now enter into a time of silent rest. I'll bring you back in 10 minutes. Start to make your way back to this space. Perhaps wiggle your fingers and toes and move that motion inward towards your torso. If your eyes are closed, perhaps slowly blink your eyelids open. Begin to sharpen your focus and return to this space in your own time.